Hey guys, it's another day, it's another time. Welcome to this new episode of Code with Secho. On this episode, we will be talking about Flutter spread, right? There is this operator in Flutter that we call spread. I call it the three magic dots. So, without wasting your time, let's jump in. We have a new Flutter app running, which is the demo app. We are going to learn about spreads in Flutter. Now, spreads are like, let me bring it to the practical local way. So spreads are like a bed sheet. So let's say you have a bed sheet and you have items slide in that bed sheet. So you take your bed sheet and then you roll it with, let's say, toffees, candies, biscuits, all in that bed sheet. When you roll the bed sheet, it is closed. There is nothing. You are not going to have any of these items from that bed sheet unless you spread it. All right. Unless you spread that bed sheet before you'll be able to have access to all those items in that bed sheet. So that's just basically how the spread operator in that or Flutter works, right? So the spread operator is just an operator that helps you spread the items in a list. So when you have about 12 items in a list that you want to display, instead of displaying them like using for each loop or using a for loop, just any of those loops, instead of displaying them in that manner, you will rather display it using a three dots. So that is what I'm going to show you. Stick around and let's go in. So right here on my screen, we have a new Flutter app running, which we can all see. So let me clear the screen, remove all this, and then we'll start a new app. So we are learning about spread. So let me create a new class. Let me create a new class and call it home. So we are going to learn about spread. It's kind of taking a little time. Yeah, so let's create a new directory called home. And then in our home, we'll create a new class called home. So this class, just keep it as stateful. Keep it as a stateful class. And then we can jump into giving it a name as home. Then in our main, we return a scaffold. So in that scaffold, we'll have an app bar. Let's design a new app bar with a title called so let's give it a title called spread in Flutter. You can call it the spread operator in Flutter. Yeah. So we have our app bar. We can have our body. We can have our body, which will be safe area. We are using safe area to push the children from the app bar. So we are pushing the children below the app bar. So that's what the safe area is doing. Yeah. So inside the safe area, we can have child, and then that child, we can have it as center. Center can have a child, which will be a column. And column will now have children. And that children, let's give it a single text and say this is a tutorial. Now we have our home setup. Let's go to the main and set it as the main page. So let's go set it as the home page. And then call our home. So let's rerun our app and confirm if our home is working. Yeah, as we can all see, our home is working. So I hope you can see the items. We have the spread operator in Flutter, and then this is a tutorial. Yeah, in the app bar, we can also center our title. Let's put our title in the center, and then get to business. The focus is on learning spread or understanding the use of spread in Flutter. It is very, very, very easy, and it makes your life easier when designing in Flutter. So let's say we have a list of 5, or let's say 10 texts. Let's say we have a list of 10 texts that we want to show. So we have this. Let's rerun our app. Then we have 10 texts on the screen. Yeah. But with that 10 texts, imagine we have them in a list now. So instead of showing them this way, we will now have a list. Let's say we have a list of text. Then we call it texts, which is this. Which is this. Now, assuming we want to display this in Flutter, I know most people uses list view. Most people use they use list view, and then some also use for loop. But this is where the spread comes in, right? So we have this, and we want to display these items in these children. On a normal, we should have been doing list.generate, right? So let's try the list.generate, and then we also try the spread. Then you see the one that goes well with you. So we can use list.generate. The length of the list, we will take the length of this text. So we'll say text.length. And then with the generator, we'll place an index to locate the items, the index of items in the text. So when doing this, we can now return texts. So texts and then index. So this is one way of printing or displaying items in a list. So let's run our app and see if that will work. As you can see, our item is there, everything is working. So now let's say we have this. Instead of using a text, instead of using a widget, let me now make it a string, right? So let's say we have this. Let's say we have all this as strings. Let's say we have all this as strings. And then in here, we are displaying a text widget, which takes a string. Therefore, in passing the string, we'll do texts, and then we pass the index. So this should print each element of the text list, right? But I want us to do something different. I want us to add a number, or to just add a count to the text, right? So we can do that by doing this. We can do that by saying text index, then say index. So let's do this and see. So as you can see, we have tutorial 0, tutorial 1, tutorial 2, tutorial 3, all the way up to tutorial 9. The count there is just this index counting the elements in the text. So list normally starts from 0, which the same thing applies to arrays. Yeah, lists are just the advanced level of arrays here. So we're just saying, when you print this list, add this to it, which is the count. Yeah. So that is one way of printing or generating list items or items in a list using the traditional list view. That is one way. Now let's get to the sweet part of it. The best way, or my favorite way of generating items in a list, is using the spread operator. I've already talked about the spread, which is just spreading items in a list as single items, right? So we have a list of items and then you are spreading it as single items. So it's same as a for loop. It's same as using a loop if you are from other backgrounds, maybe while loops and all that. But in that, this is how we do it. So let's take this off. Let's take all this off. We are taking all this off. And then in the children, we are doing this. Now, here is where the magic 3 dots comes in. So instead of writing list items, list view, whatever, generate whatever, all you have to do is type in 3 dots. First dot, second dot, third dot. That becomes the text, the spread operator. And then you choose the list. And then you choose 1, 2, 3. Then you choose the list that you are picking from. One, two, three. One, two, three. And then you choose the list, which is the text list. And then we use a map. So text list dot map the elements in the list. So now we are now picking each element from the list. So we're saying from text list, pick one list or pick one item, and whatever name you give to the item is up to you. Any name you put in this bracket or in this braces is just what you use to identify that particular item in the list. So we are saying in this list, have the item called text. So in each item in this list, name it text. Then afterwards, you open and close a bracket. Then what next? You write your return statement, which will be return text as text. And then that's it. That is the magic 3 dots in Flutter. Now, let's run the app and see what happens. So after installation, we should see our text displayed in the list. Yeah, and that is the magic. That is the magic. These 3 dots has replaced a whole list or a full line, a long line of code that would have gone like list.generate.generator, passing all index and all that. These 3 dots have covered or prevented that long line of code. And that is the magic 3 dots in Flutter, the spread operator. Now, that is for normal text. Spread operator also work on objects as well, not just data types. It also work on real class objects. So we can create a class and test that with it. So let's create a class called data. Then in that class, we have a string. We have a private string called ID. Then we have this final. Then we have another final called name. Then we generate our constructor. We can generate our constructor, which will be constant data, this required, this dot ID, then we have required, this dot name. So we have this. Now let's test this with this new class. Yeah. So we now replace the string with the data object, and then using a new data object, we can have a data which ID, let's make the ID as an int, so which the ID can be 1, and then the name can be name 1. So I want to make few duplicates of this. I'll make few duplicates of this. So making duplicates of this. We have 2, We have name 3, name 4, name 5, name 6, name 7, name 8, 9, we have 10, we have 11, we have 12, and we have 13. We can actually put this also in a list view. Yeah, we can use a for loop to generate all this. But for now, we are sticking to our spread operator. So in here, we want to return a text, or we want to return a row which will have a text called ID and then followed by the name. So let's do that. So in this, we are returning a row with the children. So this will now be data. We have this as data. So I call this data. Yeah. So for children, we have text, and then the text will be data.id, which then we have another text, which will be data.name. So let's run that and see. As you can see, we have our name, we have our data, and we have our everything that we've signed, we've created. Yeah. Now, you can see we have name and ID very close to each other. Let's kind of make our app or make our items look a little bit good, So in this, before the row, we can just put the rows in padding to give it a little space away from each other, the items. And then with these two, we can also put a little space between them using a sized box. So we can put a width between them, which will be 8.0. And then we have this. So this is the beauty of using the spread operator in Flutter. Very easy to use, very straight to the point, and very, 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 very important for you to adapt in this old codes that you'll be writing. Enough of the list.generate. It's time to use the spread operator. Thank you for being part of this episode. Follow, like, share, comment, and wait for the next episode. See you. Bye-bye.